Timeless secrets.
Russia, Unleashed, a historical journey. Of all the 195 nations dotting the globe today, none commands the sheer vastness like Russia. It sprawls over a staggering 5,600 miles from the tiny outpost of Kaliningrad in the west to the remote Big Diomede Island in the east. Picture this. It engulfs a mind-boggling expanse of 11 time zones, covering a grand total of 6,612,074 square miles. Wrap your head around that for a moment. It's so immense that Canada, the second largest country on the planet, could comfortably nestle within its borders over 1.7 times. For over 3 centuries, Russia has maintained its throne as the undisputed giant of nations. At its zenith in 1866, its reach stretched from the heart of Europe to the icy shores of Alaska. But rewind the clock a few hundred years, and you'll find a vastly different landscape. The land we now know as Russia was once a patchwork quilt of warring principalities and tribal chieftains. Yet, from amidst this chaos emerged the nascent stirrings of a nation. Through the audacious exploits of Cossacks and the iron-fisted rule of czars, Russia ascended to claim its status as the Colossus of nations. It's a tale of ambition, conquest, and sheer determination that birthed the behemoth we know today as Russia, the unrivaled titan of the world's nations. To truly grasp the genesis and expansion of the Russian state, one must train their sights on the captivating expanse known as European Russia. This geographical marvel sits snugly west of the Ural Mountains, boasting a landscape dominated by the majestic Volga River and its tributaries. Here, amidst this picturesque panorama, lie the bustling hubs of Moscow, St. Petersburg, Volgograd, and Astrakhan, each a testament to Russia's enduring legacy. While the concept of a cohesive nation-state didn't quite take root until the medieval era, the stage was set centuries prior on the sprawling plains of the Pontic Caspian steppe. This historic crucible played host to an array of Indo-European and Germanic tribes, each leaving an indelible mark on the tapestry of time. From the enigmatic Scythians of ancient Greek lore to the formidable Huns and Goths who rattled the very foundations of the Roman Empire, this region simmered with intrigue and ambition. Fast forward to the 9th and 10th centuries, and the scene shifts with the emergence of Norse expansionism out of Scandinavia. While the Vikings are often associated with their Western escapades, their forays eastward were equally audacious. Traversing the Baltic and navigating the Volga, Dnieper, and Neva rivers, they left an indelible imprint across Eastern Europe. Establishing settlements like Kiev, Novgorod, and Staraya Ladoga, these intrepid Norsemen laid the groundwork for what would become the cradle of Russian civilization. The Norse chieftains, known as the Rus, gradually melded with the local Slavic populace, birthing the first semblances of organized governance in the region. From the Kievan Rus of the late 9th century to the Novgorod Republic of the 12th century, these fledgling states laid the foundation for Russia's storied history. By the 13th century, prosperity beckoned as trade flourished along the banks of western Russia's waterways. Novgorod, in particular, basked in the glow of commerce, forging lucrative ties with the Hanseatic League. Yet, amidst this golden age, a specter loomed from the east, the Mongol hordes. Led by the indomitable Genghis Khan, they swept across the Eurasian steppe, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The Battle of the Kalka River in 1223 marked the first clash between the Rus' principalities and the Mongol juggernaut. Though the Rus initially repelled the invaders, the Mongols returned with a vengeance in 1240, laying waste to cities like Kiev and Muscovy. Thus began the era of Mongol dominance, with the Golden Horde, Crimean Khanate, and Kazan Khanate asserting their authority over the region. For the next 2 centuries, Western Russia languished under Mongol suzerainty, with tribute flowing eastward to appease the conquerors. Despite the yoke of subjugation, the Russian spirit endured, laying the groundwork for the eventual rise of Moscow as the preeminent power in the region. As the 15th century dawned, the Mongol grip loosened, paving the way for Russia's ascent to prominence on the world stage. As the world witnessed the ascent of new powers like the Ottomans in the Middle East and the Ming dynasty in China, another force was quietly rising in the vast expanse of Russia. This emergence of power found its roots in the Duchy of Muscovy during the reign of Ivan III, a period spanning from 1462 to 1505. Ivan embarked on a series of ambitious campaigns aiming to expand Muscovy's influence and control. Among his notable conquests were the wresting of control over the upper reaches of the Volga River from the Carnegies, as well as the absorption of territories like Novgorod, the Republic of Pskov, and the Principality of Revere into Muscovite domain. By the dawn of the 16th century, a semblance of a centralized Russian state had emerged, stretching from Lake Ladoga in the north to the banks of the Volga in the south. Ivan's legacy was furthered by his grandson, Ivan IV, famously known as Ivan the Terrible, who extended Russian dominion southwards towards the Caspian Sea. In 1547, Ivan IV crowned himself as the first Tsar of all Russia, setting in motion a series of events that would shape the country's future. The quest for expansion eastward began with the employment of Cossacks, skilled fighters from the steppe, who ventured beyond the Ural Mountains under the leadership of figures like Yermak Timofeyevich. Their initial successes in conquering the Siberian Khanate marked the beginning of Russia's exploration into the vast Siberian wilderness. Over the following century, Russian explorers pushed ever eastward, reaching as far as the Kamchatka Peninsula on the Pacific coast. The 17th and 18th centuries witnessed the establishment of small colonies in Siberia, while expeditions like Vitus Bering's exploration of the Pacific led to the formal claim of Alaska by Russia in 1741. Despite these remarkable achievements in eastern expansion, Russia's focus in the 17th century shifted towards Europe, particularly the Baltic Sea region. The Great Northern War, 1700 to 1721, against Sweden saw Tsar Peter the Great securing access to warm water ports, including the founding of St. Petersburg on the Baltic coast. Peter the Great's reign was marked by sweeping reforms and modernization efforts inspired by his travels to Western Europe from 1697 to 1698. To learn about the scientific and technological developments taking place there, wanting to return, he emulated what he'd witnessed in the West and began modernizing Russia and transforming it into one of the continent's great powers. By the time of his death in 1725, Russia had transformed from a backward and impoverished nation into an international major power, reshaping the geopolitical landscape of Europe and Asia alike. In the grand tapestry of history, Peter's expansionist endeavors found their zenith in the 18th century under the formidable reign of Catherine the Great. Picture this: Catherine, with her eyes set on bolstering Russian influence southward, around the mystical Black Sea. It was a bold ambition, one that didn't shy away from a good old-fashioned declaration of war. Thus, in 1768, the gauntlet was thrown down against the Ottoman Empire. Fast forward to 1774, and Russia had notched up significant victories, claiming the cities of Azov and Kircha. These conquests laid the groundwork for further territorial grabs. With a swagger befitting a superpower in the making, Russia embarked on a gradual southern expansion, munching up chunks of land like a geopolitical Pac-Man. Troops marched into the Caucasus, the northeast reaches of the Balkans, and even set their sights on the Crimean Peninsula. The narrative delves into Russia's evolution from a patchwork of warring principalities to a cohesive nation-state, tracing its origins back to Norse expansionism and the merging of Norse chieftains with the local Slavic populace. The Mongol invasion in the 13th century ushered in an era of dominance, yet Russia persisted, leading to Moscow's rise as a major power by the 15th century. Part 2 will soon reveal to us interesting content about the echo of historical Russia, or answer the question, why in 1867 did Russia sell off Alaska to the United States for a mere $7.2 million bucks? And a lot of questions will be revealed in Part 2. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of the ancient and historical.